नमस्ते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारण समस्त देशतारण श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री गुरु वंदन का अनुवाद इस प्रकार है। हमारे गुरुदेव के चरण कमल ही एकमात्र साधन है जिनके द्वारा हम शुद्ध भक्ति प्राप्त कर सकते हैं। मैं उनके चरण कमलों में अत्यंत श्रद्धापूर्वक नतमस्तक होता हूँ। उनकी कृपा जीव भौतिक क्लेशों के महासागर को पार कर सकता है, कृष्ण की कृपा प्राप्त कर सकता है। मेरी एकमात्र इच्छा है कि उनके मुख कमल से निकले शब्द द्वारा अपनी चेतना शुद्ध करूँ। उनके चरण कमलों में अनुराग ऐसी सिद्धि है जो समस्त मन को पूर्ण करती है। वे मेरी बंद आंखों को खोलते हैं, मेरे हृदय में दिव्य ज्ञान भरते हैं। जन्म जन्मांतर में वे मेरे प्रभु हैं। वे प्रेम भक्ति प्रदान करते हैं और अविद्या का नाश करते हैं। वैदिक शास्त्र उनके चरित्र का गान करते हैं। हे गुरुदेव, हे प्रभुपाद, करुणा संतात्मक मित्र, आप सबके गुरु एवं सभी लोगों के जीवन है। हे गुरुदेव, हे प्रभुपाद, मुझ पर दया कीजिए तथा मुझे भी श्री चरणों की छाया प्रदान कीजिए। आपका यश लोगों में फैला हुआ है। जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय।
ग्रेस सुखवा माताजी की। Like to welcome Mataji by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So today we are very fortunate to have Sukhavaha Mataji, who is disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. So I like to give a brief introduction of Mataji. Mataji is a well-known preacher in our movement. Mataji was born and raised as a Protestant minister's daughter. Inspired by her father, she graduated with a bachelor's degree in social welfare from one of the prestigious universities of US, which is Pennsylvania State University. At the age of 21, in 1975, she accepted initiation from His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who gave her the name Sukhavaha Devi Dasi. With her counseling skills coupled with spiritual knowledge, she was ordained an interfaith minister in January 1992. She has been involved in a number of social welfare projects in India, including the Barsana Eye Camp and the Spiritual Care Department of Bhaktivedanta Hospital in Mumbai. She regularly leads discussions of various devotee communities on compassionate communication, emotional healing and relationships, as well as conducting numerous seminars and workshops. And today, Mataji will be taking an important seminar for us at ISKCON Dwarka, which is Friends or Enemies. And the title is Creating Understanding and Forgiveness Within and Without. So Mataji has written various books, so she is author as well. And today she will be highlighting on creating understanding and forgiveness without. And then tomorrow in the morning class, she will focus on creating understanding and forgiveness within. Hare Krishna. So we welcome Mataji again by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Sukhavaha Mataji ki jai.
Sorry, I'm getting it situated here. This is good. You need a little boost. There, that's good. Okay, thank you. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
I got one more for support, so it will
Okay.
be nice for you. Thank you.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivanadari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivanadari. Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This morning we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 8, Verse 9. Does everybody understand English? Good. Does somebody want to do the Sanskrit? Should I just do the word for word? Okay. Okay, let's just do the word for word. That will be easier for me. Jahi, just give up. Asuram, demoniac. Bhavam, tendency. Imam, this. Twam, you, my dear father. Atmanaha, of yourself. Samam, equal. Manaha, the mind. Datsva, make. Na, not. Santi, are. Vidvishaha, enemies. Rite, except. Agitat, uncontrolled. Atmanaha, the mind. Utpate, on the mistaken path of undesirable tendencies. Stitat, being situated. Tadhi, that mentality. He, indeed. Anantasya, of the unlimited Lord. Mahat, the best. Samarhanam, method of worship. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prahlad Maharaj continued of this chapter titled, The Lord Slays the King of the Demons. Prahlad is talking to his father here. Prahlad Maharaj continued, my dear father, please give up your demoniac mentality. Do not discriminate in your heart between enemies and friends. Make your mind equipoised toward everyone. Except for the uncontrolled and misguided mind, there is no enemy within this world. When one sees everyone on the platform of equality, one then comes to the position of worshiping the Lord perfectly. Purport. Unless one is able to fix the mind at the lotus feet of the Lord, the mind is impossible to control. As Arjuna says in Bhagavad Gita 6:34, Kanchalam himana manahi Krishna pramati balavadridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayar eva sudushkaram. For the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, it seems to me, is more difficult than controlling the wind. The only bona fide process for controlling the mind is to fix the mind by service to the Lord. We create enemies and friends according to the dictation of the mind, but actually there are no enemies and friends. Pandita sama darshinaha. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. To understand this is the preliminary condition for entering into the kingdom of devotional service. Om Jnanatam Randasya Gina Gina Shalakaya Chakshur Umalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamadam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamstra Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanshakapatubhyascha Kripa Sindhibhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, dear Srila Prabhupada, my dear Lord Krishna, please be with us, please guide us, please help us to see the import of each of your verses of the Bhagavatam. Please help us to understand your deep and loving message to us so that we may serve you in love. Hare Krishna. So, good morning. Thank you all for coming to Srimad Bhagavatam class. This verse, I like this verse a lot. It's very significant. The whole material world is perpetuated by the concept of friends and enemies. Samsara is perpetuated by the whole, not just the concept, the manifestation of the concept of friends and enemies. To be a soul, a jiva, inside this human machinery is one of the most challenging lifetimes there is. Animals are just driven by instinct, and they don't have any responsibility for their acts of, even if they're acts of cruelty or they hurt someone, they have no responsibility for that. They're just moving by instinct. In this human form of life, we get this intelligence that we're given, which can help us to discern finer points. The mind does sometimes get carried away, though, and it tries to figure out everything. And our discernment, I like the word discernment rather than discrimination, because we could be discriminating against something. Our sense of discernment sometimes does become discrimination, and it sometimes becomes judgment of ourselves and judgment of others. So what makes someone seem to be an enemy? What makes someone seem to be an enemy? What are the kinds of things? If someone displeases us, yes. How dare you displease me? Anything else? What makes someone seem to be an enemy? Another finer point of if someone displeases us?
When someone is not up to expectations that we make for them.
When someone isn't up to expectations that we make for them, with probably not even having a conversation with them. Thank you. What else makes someone an enemy? Seem an enemy. I have to keep putting that word in there. Say again? Different mindset. Yeah. When they don't agree with our point of view. That is very objectionable. Excuse me. Anything else? Someone obstructing our sense gratification. And our sense gratification might be being right. If someone says we're wrong, wow, they could be our enemy. So, let's look at Hiranyakashipu for a minute here, because this is a story about Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad. So, what are some qualities of Hiranyakashipu? Some ambitious. I'm sorry? Okay, that's a little judgmental. What makes you think that he's evil? What has he done? He was cruel towards Prahlad. Okay. So, he was cruel. Okay. What did you say again? Ambitious. Arrogant. I'm sorry? Hiranyakashipu, qualities of Hiranyakashipu. Ambitious, arrogant, cruel, self-centered. I'm sorry?
Egoistic to become supreme.
Egoistic, yes. Was he duplicitous? Was he political? Was he complicated? So now let's look at the qualities of Prahlad. Or even just a 5-year-old. Oh, dominating. He was dominating, controlling everybody. So now let's look at we could look at the qualities of Prahlad, or we could even just look at the qualities of a 5-year-old. Let's look at the qualities of a 5-year-old. And see if you can match them up to the ones that are the opposite of Hiranyakashipu. Simple. I'm sorry? Calm and poised. Depends on the child, I think. Some children have a lot of energy. Determined. Well, Hiranyakashipu was determined also. Fearless. Wait, let's do one at a time. Fearless. A child sometimes is fearless because they don't know that there's something to be afraid of. The mother actually has to protect them sometimes. So yes, a child can be fearless. Loving. Children are very loving. And even if their parents are mean, they still somehow pervertedly think that that's love because that's the only thing they know. So they're loving. Are they dominating? No, what might they be? Submissive. Children are generally submissive because most people are bigger than them, so I might want to be a little submissive. Simple, submissive, loving, fearless, dependent. So dependent. So someone like Hiranyakashipu thinks he's not dependent, right? He thinks he's independent. He's manipulative. So children are simple. They're not complicated. They don't really know how to manipulate and lie. They could learn it, but they don't really know how to do it. And even if they tell a lie, you can usually tell that they're telling a lie. They're not very good at manipulating. There's also one big difference. Non-political, they don't even know what politics are, but when someone is dominating, like Hiranyakashipu, he thinks he's all powerful. He thinks he knows. He thinks he has it under control. Why is it that young children can learn so much so fast? What is it about them that makes them a sponge for learning? That's what they say when a young child can learn so fast. What makes a young child a sponge? It's a quality. Curiosity. Is that what you said? Curiosity. Why? Why is this like this? What's that on the floor? Why? They want to know everything. As we grow and mature, we think we know. And when we become devotees and we get the absolute truth in the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, now I really know. I know the philosophy. I know the verses. I know. Sometimes our knowing interferes with our growing. Because if I know, how much do I really know? I mean, the absolute truth is there at my access, but how much in a circle of all knowledge do you think I know? 1 point. That's about it. This is about how much we know. We know about that much. But we know. We know what we know, and we know what we don't know, and there's a lot that we don't know that we don't know. A lot. We have no idea how Krishna is going to arrange the day today. We don't know. We have no idea if we're going to live until tomorrow. We have no idea. And yet we think we know. And this knowing interferes with our ability to be open-minded like children, to be broad-minded, to be curious, to look around and wonder, what does Krishna have in store for me today? Okay. So those are the differences between the mentalities. Now, interestingly enough, Hiranyakashipu had all power. Everybody was afraid of Hiranyakashipu. The demigods were shaking in fear of Hiranyakashipu. And Hiranyakashipu couldn't handle just one little boy who happened to be his son not agreeing with him. This little boy was not harassing him. He just didn't agree with him, and he was happy to talk about his own opinion. That's basically all that Prahlad did. He was committed to his own opinion, but he didn't fight with his father. In fact, he was pretty compassionate. Here he's saying, my dear father, my dear father, my dear father, please give up your mentality, your demonic mentality of friends and enemies. It doesn't really befit who you really are. So Prahlad is compassionate, and Hiranyakashipu is so incensed that his own son does not adhere to his philosophy. So who has the enemy mentality? Hiranyakashipu. He sees Prahlad as his enemy. And what does he try to do? He tries to kill him in so many ways. Now Prahlad over here, he's experiencing all the onslaught of his father's anger. He's being thrown off a cliff, under an elephant, being fed poison, thrown into a pit of snakes, put in boiling oil. It seems that Prahlad would have good reason to see his father as his enemy. Multiple reasons. And yet he didn't see his father as his enemy at all. It's quite amazing. So we can see a huge difference in the mentalities. Now there's one core factor that's hidden. Jai Shishi Rukmini Dwarkadish, Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, Jai Shishi Gornitai. There's something about Hiranyakashipu. We touched upon a quality of a 5-year-old. But there's a quality of Hiranyakashipu that's very hidden. What does arrogance and a controlling mentality hide? What'd you say? Fear. A controlling mentality and arrogance hides insecurity. Hiranyakashipu was very insecure and full of fear. So he had to try to manipulate so many things. He did all these austerities in order to manipulate Brahma to give him all these benedictions to somehow manipulate that now I am immortal. Too bad the illusory energy is bigger than you, Hiranyakashipu. And so, insecurity. And Prahlad, on the other hand, where was Prahlad's security? In Krishna. Hiranyakashipu put his security in the benedictions and his austerities and his supposed power. That's where he put his security. But you can see it's not a very secure position. One little 5-year-old boy completely throws him off balance. He completely loses it. And Prahlad's just kind of like, okay. So how many of us maybe have some qualities of Hiranyakashipu? How many of us are sometimes arrogant, sometimes controlling, sometimes manipulating, sometimes seeing enemies? What will it take for us to start developing the qualities of a 5-year-old? Actually, there's some very good qualities there, and the qualities actually match up with the qualities of a Vaishnava. What's it going to take for us to be curious, open-minded, broad-minded, to see a bigger perspective than just our own little opinion? What will it take? Now, I'd like to say there are two things that tend to control us souls living in this material world. We seek one thing and we avoid another. What are we seeking? Well, as a conditioned soul, we seek pleasure and we avoid pain. We avoid it like the plague. There's plenty of suffering in this material world. There's plenty of pain here. Does avoiding pain make the pain go away? When we can't be with our own pain, what do we usually do with it? Sometimes we suppress it down. What did you say? I didn't hear you. What did you say? We give the pain to others? Is that what you said? Is that what you said? That was the answer. We either suppress it, beat ourselves up, or we throw it on others with blame and shame. We do that. We do that. Nobody wants to be wrong. Nobody wants to be blamed. Does anybody here want to be blamed? How many of you here have ever blamed anybody? Okay. Wow. What goes around comes around. Are we self-sabotaging here? What is this? We can't be with our own pain, so we throw it on others. They throw it on somebody else. They throw it on somebody else. It comes back to us. What are we perpetuating here? We're perpetuating a big pain. What's that pain? Samsara. We're perpetuating samsara. And we blame other people, and we blame Krishna. Why aren't you bringing me back to Godhead? I am working so hard here. We self-sabotage. Krishna doesn't create our karma. He's designed karma as a feedback for us, to give us feedback that, oh, by the way, you know, if you do this, there will be some consequence. If you invest in trying to get material solutions to fill your soul, you might be frustrated because nothing material will ever fulfill your soul. If you throw blame on others, you will be perpetuating samsara, you will be self-sabotaging, and it will be coming back to you. And then you'll have more. When will we learn to deal with our pain? Now, I'd like to say that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur made the statement, when faults in others delude and misguide you, have patience. Introspect. Find faults in yourself. Find the pain in yourself. No one can harm you unless you harm yourself. It's a fantastic quote. But it's not just a quote. It's a reality. What if we could just realize that one thing? What if we could just stop throwing our pain on others? We could really create a huge transformation in our life. Now, a lot of times we just think, I'm just going to chant and do devotional service and work really hard, and all my bad habits will just evaporate. Well, they can't evaporate if we keep perpetuating them. We can't self-sabotage and say, okay, Krishna, can you make up for that? Krishna does not force us. He wants us to come back to Godhead with our full heart. But if a big part of our heart is, I don't want to feel this pain, I got to throw this on others, I don't want to deal with this. Krishna, you just save me, oh please pray for me, bless me, pray for me, let's just get rid of that stuff and make it happen. We're not taking personal responsibility. Now, this human form of life is a life of responsibility. We've been given this intelligence. It's a gift to use and apply in our life. We have this gift of consciousness. We need to utilize this consciousness. Now, this material world is definitely painful. And we want to avoid the pain. That's why so many people take intoxications. It's not that they're bad people. They can't handle the pain. It's too painful, and they need to go unconscious. Now we have come, we're souls and human machines, we've come to Krishna consciousness, and now we've made a declaration. I want to be conscious. I don't want to be intoxicated. I want to transform my consciousness. I want to purify my consciousness. That's a whole nother level of responsibility there. We can't become Krishna conscious unconsciously. So this consciousness, sometimes we come to Krishna consciousness to solve all our problems. Now I have the absolute truth. Now I have the answer to all my problems. Now all my problems are solved. There are many hidden intoxications and ways of numbing ourselves, even in Krishna consciousness. Sometimes we become intoxicated with our youth and our energy and our ability to produce results. Look what I can do. Look how much I do. Look how much money I collected. That was me in my first 27 years of Krishna consciousness. An intoxication with what I can produce, an intoxication with my energy. Sometimes position can be an intoxication. I'm better than those people out there that are eating meat and being intoxicated. And we look down on them. And even our family members, we may look down on our family members as demons, enemies. I know better. I know. Got to watch that, I know. So, we have to be conscious first before we can be Krishna conscious. Now, we do everything we can to avoid this pain. We don't want to look at it. When we chant, we say that automatically all the good qualities will come, right? Have you ever heard that saying? I liken the chanting to making ghee. The chanting is like the heat. You turn the heat on and you're cooking the butter. And what comes up when you do that? I'm sorry? What comes up inside the ghee? What comes up? I think I heard somebody say it. Impurities. The impurities come up. That's the process of clarifying the butter. Now, how do we clarify our consciousness? We chant. The chanting is the heat. The impurities come up. And then what do we do? What do we do when we see the impurities? Sometimes we suppress them. We stir them back in. Right? Oh my gosh, look at that awful stuff coming up to the top. I gotta get rid of that really fast. It looks better. It's yellow. Looks better. And then we wonder why it's taking so long. Why aren't I a pure devotee? Come on, I've been chanting for 27 years. What's going on here? This is what happens when we're not able to be with our own conditioning. We're not able to accept that we're jiva tattva. We do have impurities. I mean, we accept it theoretically. Yes, of course. Yes, I'm a jiva. Yes, of course I'm a jiva. And of course I make mistakes. But if someone points out a mistake, that wasn't my mistake, that was your mistake. How can we say one thing on one side, the theory, and then in the practical application we can't even apply it even 1%? How are we going to become purified? We can't keep stirring that stuff back in. The chanting brings the impurities up because the impurities are subtle. They're very subtle. You can't see them. So the chanting brings up the impurities so we can see them. That is the gift of the chanting. There they are right in front of you. There they are. And what does seeing our impurities do to help us in our Krishna consciousness? It helps to keep us honest. Oh my gosh, yeah. Look at that, I got some impurities. Oh my gosh, well, how can I purify that? What can I do with that? You can't do anything in theory. You have to do something in reality. The only way to get realization is to do something in reality. You don't get realization from theorizing in your head, trying to figure it out. You get realization by applying the process in reality. So, what would it take, just what would it take to stop blaming others and to take personal responsibility? What would it take? What if we used the circumstances of our life, and when something came up that was uncomfortable, someone blamed us, something happened, we got frustrated or angry, something happened, or we got hurt. What would happen if we could just take personal responsibility? I'm feeling angry. You did something, okay, that triggered me, but not everybody in the room got angry. I'm the one who got angry. It's my anger. It's my hurt. It's my upset. What if we took the opportunity then to be patient, to introspect and see what is going on inside of me? What is that anger? What am I angry about? What do I need? What am I expecting? What are my assumptions? If we started understanding our own self, that would give us a lot of information. You know, tomorrow I'll talk about this more, but I just want to say, I think we know more about the software programming in our little cell phone than we know about the software programming in this human machinery and this subtle body. And we live in this body 24/7. So that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. So I see that it's 10 minutes. I wanted to give all of you a chance to introspect and reflect and maybe say what you heard in this class that maybe you didn't hear before. Oh, one more thing I have to say before I forget. We spend all our time avoiding pain, right? There's a little secret. Love and pain are intimately connected. If you don't believe me, ask the gopis. Love and pain are intimately connected. When we push down the pain, when we push down our feelings, when we push down our emotions, you can't just push down one. If you push down the pain and the emotions, you're pushing down the love too. That's another way we self-sabotage. If you push one down, you push them all down. So how are we going to get love of God if we push down our emotions? It's not going to happen. They're connected. We spend a lot of time theorizing. We spend a lot of time being detached when we're actually just suppressing our emotions. When you suppress things for a long time, they get pressurized. And then when they come out, psh, it's an explosion. Can we deal with these things on a daily basis, regularly? One little thing at a time. Process it, digest it, what's going on, talk about it. Think about it, write about it. Be curious. What is going on? Why do I want to blame that other person? So, I'd like to hear from you, maybe what you heard, what you learned, any, if you have any concerns about what I said, any corrections, any questions, thoughts. I'm open to hearing from you. But I can't see the hands because there's one right there. There's a lady in the back there. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji,
Hare
thank you
Krishna.
for an amazing class. I really liked your description of the ghee and the boiling and the impurities coming out, and how we avoid them when we see the impurities. But I wanted to also ask about what happened to you personally when Srila Prabhupada left. For example, we have a fear of hiding those impurities, because when we do reveal those impurities, sometimes people might react to it in a bad way, and then there's a greater fear of revealing it.
Yes.
Of course, in front of the spiritual master, we can reveal it. But what happens in the absence of your spiritual master when he's not there? Then who do you reveal these impurities to, and how do you know they will? Of course, all devotees are great, but how will you know they want you to actually grow?
Thank you. Really relevant question here. I think there's something that's a little lacking within our ISKCON society. It's called confidentiality. It's a serious thing. We don't know how to keep confidentiality. So, you know, it's really good to find a committed listener, that one who knows how to listen, one who knows how to hold your pain, one who's not just trying to give you advice and fix you and do a quick fix and tell you what you should or shouldn't do, one who can just hold your space and listen and help you reflect and be like a sounding board for you, without judgment and confidentially, like there's no reason to tell anybody anything. We've all got stuff. What would be our purpose in telling somebody else? I don't do that. Oh my gosh. Whoa. At least I don't do that. Just to make ourselves feel better. So you would want to be able to find somebody that you know can keep confidentiality, so you don't reveal everything. You could reveal something that's not so significant, and ask, please keep this confidential, and see if they can. Or you might just know a person who's your good friend. But it's difficult to keep confidentiality because we like to talk about the news, and somebody else's upsets can be news. So finding someone that can hear us confidentially. A good place to really start is writing a journal. You just write, and you write a stream of thought. You don't like pass judgment on it, you just let it all come out. I can't believe they did that, blah, 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 blah. You write it all out, get it all out. Then you look at it. Oh, I guess I'm feeling pretty angry about that. You'll be able to reflect on it yourself. It's confidential, it's in your own book, it's your private book, nobody has to read it. And then you can start thinking about it and processing it. So that's a good way to start if you don't know anybody. Karuna Care is started by Rambaru Mataji, and she trains people how to listen without judgment. And she'd love to train more people. I think that it would be great if everybody in ISKCON could take her courses and learn about emotions, learn about grief, learn about trauma, be informed about these things, and understand your own programming a little bit better and learn how to listen. And then we could create a safe space for people to start introspecting. So that was a very nice question. Just, those are some avenues that you can start with. Thank you.
Mataji. Can I ask one more question?
Okay.
You said that love and pain go hand in hand.
I didn't say they go hand in hand. I said they're intimately connected.
They're intimately connected.
Yes.
So for example, when my spiritual master left, there was a lot of pain.
Yes.
But at the same time, we're taught the philosophy that one should not lament. No.
There's a difference between lamentation and grieving. We never talk about grieving. This is something Rambaru teaches. It was an eye-opener for me. I just learned about it a couple of years ago. Grieving, grief. What? Grief is an expression of love. We have existential grief right now. We lost our identity. We don't know who we are. That's sad. That's upsetting. We lost our relationship with our dearmost friend Krishna when we're trying to regain it. That's sad. We lost our home in the spiritual world. That's sad. So grieving is an expression of love. When you lose someone you love, of course you're going to be sad. And that grieving is a natural process of honoring that person, what they meant to you, what they provided for you. It's an honoring of your love for that person. Now, there's a process of grieving, and we want to go through that process because when we don't, it stays stuck in our body, and it affects our relationships a lot. So grieving is very important. Lamenting is something different. Lamenting is more like complaining. I'm devastated, this and that. That's more lamenting. Or, oh, I did this, I'm so stupid. Oh, why did I make that mistake? Oh my gosh, I'm beating myself up. That's more what lamenting is. Grieving and lamenting are different. Does that make sense? Sometimes we intertwine words. I like to separate words. I'll talk about words this afternoon with the Vaishnavis. Sometimes the words we choose get confused, and sometimes when we use a word over and over and over again, we think lament means don't lament means don't grieve.
Yes.
And they're two different things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mataji.
Okay, we have a little more time. Should we, what time is it now, 9? Is it 9 o'clock? It's up to you. How many more minutes should we go? I need some authorization here. 15 minutes? Okay, so have some more questions, please. Okay, after her, then you can ask a question.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for the wonderful lecture. I have a doubt, like we are in this material world, we have to suffer the pain.
We have
But
to what?
We have to suffer the pain, but at a certain...
I didn't hear it again. We have to.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Say it slower. We have to.
We have to suffer the pain.
Suffer the pain, okay.
But sometimes, like at a certain point of time, we feel like we don't even care about the pain. So how can we differentiate between like we are detaching from the pain, we are developing the detachment, or simply we are surpassing the pain?
Well, I don't agree that we have to suffer the pain. We can experience the pain without suffering. There will be pain. Suffering is an agonizing over the pain. Oh, why do I have so much pain? Oh, this is so hard. And why are you doing this to me? And it's like an agonizing over the pain. Now, sometimes we just get so frustrated with the pain, we turn it off. We numb ourselves. I don't care. Whatever. Who cares? Go ahead, yell at me, whatever. That's not being really detached from the pain. Detachment comes naturally when you understand and when you integrate and when you allow the pain to teach you something. So things, this is my favorite saying of Prabhupada, things that you learn easily are easy to forget. Things that you learn with difficulty are difficult to forget. So sometimes the things we learn through the pain we experience, we don't forget that. So that pain can help us to learn and grow. Does that make sense, what I said?
Thank you so much.
What did I say? Is that okay?
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Okay. So I think we have a question over here. I don't know where it is. Okay, that one and then another one. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Am I audible?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you for the wonderful lecture. I think the point you made that taking charge of your emotions before reacting or responding to someone, I think that's a good point. Like we can introspect.
Yes.
This on my part.
Yes, yes.
That gives us the chance to think, like, get empathize with the other person also.
Right.
And the other point, like a realization that chanting and devotion service to Krishna helps us to see our defects.
Yes.
Like we are full of them, so that makes us humble, not seeing other persons.
Right.
Defect.
Right.
That was a point. Like,
thank you.
And one question that, like, when we walk in this devotional service path, it happens like with the grace of Guru and Krishna, we have some good qualities getting ourselves, and we know somewhere in the end that it's not because of us. Maybe good habits and anything that we weren't doing last time before entering to the service.
Yes.
But the reaction of the people is like, okay, you are so, what you can say, spiritually evolved, and you know what all words you get, and you know these things enter your ear, so it can toxicate your consciousness. A subtle, what you can say, ego can come into us. You know?
Yes.
It enters very subtly. There's a part of us that is becoming happy at that time. Okay, yeah, I got what I need.
Yes.
I'm getting the praises. But we know somewhere also that it's not because of us. It's the qualities of Krishna and the Guru that we are getting. So how to, you know, how we can transfer our, what we can say, this all, this praises and, you know, this all that is not good for our spiritual health to our Guru, and stay humble, the most important thing in the end.
That's a very relevant question. I would say from my own experience, from my own life, really reflecting on my weaknesses and my challenges and all my mistakes that I made, and all the struggles I went through, really helps me to remember, because it was with great difficulty that I went through those struggles. It really helps me to remember. It's like, but by the grace of God, I would be gone. I wouldn't be here. So I'll just give an example. when I was young, up until the age of, in my 40s, I really hated being in a woman's body. I felt I got cheated. And so I was really upset about that. But later on I realized that actually it was a protection for me from arrogance, because even as a young woman I was arrogant. If I would have been in a man's body, I would have taken off. So, you know, when Krishna sends activities which bring up our impurities, we want to focus in on that and say, yeah, this is what you need to work on. Whatever you've done before, okay, great. You've done some work, you've evolved a little bit, but here's what you need to focus on, because this is what's holding you up. And, you know, we're all in the same boat. I'm no different than any of you. You know, people, you know, think that I'm going to be able to magically bless them, and I offer that, you know, you will be blessed. You are blessed by Krishna. Every day Krishna's blessing us. However, a lot of times the blessings we want are the good blessings. Health, wealth, attention. We may want those blessings. The real blessings are the hard blessings. So when the hard blessings come, be really grateful, because they keep us humble. When you make a mistake, say, oh, thank you for showing me that. Yep, I'm a jiva. Maybe I did this much, but I still can make mistakes. So I'm no better than anybody else. I'm a jiva soul in a human machine, and there's a lot of struggle that goes on throughout our life to purify. And then when we go through the purification that we need to go through in this life, that could be your big test right now, to not let that really affect you. Please, Krishna, what did Prabhupada pray? Please protect me from Maya. So praying, asking Krishna, please, Krishna, don't let me get enamored with these words. And of course we all want appreciation. We all want that. Do we appreciate ourselves? If we really respect and appreciate ourselves, and also at the same time understand our weaknesses, it's kind of irrelevant another person's opinion of us. It's kind of irrelevant. If I'm saying something that benefits you, that's great. But if I'm not, you know, I'm not. So somebody else's opinion of me doesn't make me who I am or change who I am. Their feedback may help me to see something I need to see. But, you know, sometimes people say, oh, you work so hard. And I'm a recovering workaholic. I say, that is not a great thing. If I can sit down and relax, now that's a great thing. So people praise you for things that are not really difficult for you. So then you can say, hey, if you see me doing this, you know, then you can acknowledge me. Because I can do that with my eyes closed. And this is where my challenges are. So being aware of where your challenges are and acknowledging those. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Just to summarize, like you said, to have a positive self-talk and know where your weaknesses and strengths are.
Yes.
So that other opinions don't affect you, like, okay, they are saying, but I know my real picture.
I know my real picture. I'm a jiva soul in here struggling like you are, and you may think I'm something special, and I'm the same as you, and I'm just a little older.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Mataji, for the answer. Thank you very much.
Hi, Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
One more question, and then, we've got 2 more questions. What do we do? We've got 3 more questions. Okay, I'll try to make the answer shorter.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Very nice lecture, Mataji. Mataji, one thing is like, whenever we commit an offense against a Vaishnava, we want to kind of beg pardon from them. But occasionally and most of the time it happens that the ego comes into picture.
It always does.
So you have the remorse in your heart, but then you have the ego and there's a tussle between them. So ultimately, most of the time, in my case, ego wins and I remain with myself. So how to handle the situation?
We defend our ego because we think our ego is us. And it's just the software programming. When we defend, we have a tendency to offend others. Our defending causes us to offend another person. Now, when we don't want to shine a light on our software programming, when we want to hide it, it just grows. We're just feeding it. It's just growing. When you shine a light on that darkness, oh, okay. Oh yeah, I made a mistake. What's the big deal? I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I didn't mean to do that. I'm really sorry. There's nothing to defend. When you shine a light on it, the darkness dissipates. Why don't we want to shine a light on the darkness? Why do we want to keep that illusory software programming in control? Why do we want to stay on the default mode?
So Mataji, what is the meaning of shining a light in this case?
Looking at it, admitting it at least to yourself. And sometimes we want to say, I'm sorry, just so somebody can say, oh, I forgive you. I forgive you, it's okay. That's motivated too. That's not really getting. So you could be curious. I understand that I offended you. Can you please tell me how it felt for you when I offended you? Because I want to really get present to my impact on you and what I did so that I can empathize and actually really apologize from a place of understanding rather than from a place of wanting you to forgive me. When you really understand what another person went through, they can forgive you because they want you to understand how they felt. But if you just say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. It's like, oh my gosh, I really lost it the other day. I really yelled at you, and I'm sure that really hurt you, and how did you feel? I'm so, that's not who I really am. It's not who I want to continue being. If you hear me kind of escalating my voice a little bit, can you give me an early warning signal so that doesn't happen again? Like really wanting to clean that up and change that habit. That will give you lots of revelation and lots of connection with other people. Oh, okay. Oh, all right, yeah. It's okay, yeah. They can understand they're jiva too. They got problems too. And when you actually are vulnerable and share, people are kind of like, wow. Because it takes courage to do that. We could start a whole new movement of being courageous and working out our ego issues instead of our political issues.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Two more. One here and then we'll pass it up.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
And then you're next.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I would like to know how we limit our expectations from other. Because due to this, sometimes problems are occur in any relationship, misunderstandings like that.
Well,
or is this possible? We completely make zero expectations to anyone, or is this possible or not?
It is possible it's not possible to have zero expectations ever in your whole life. Like, I expect that I'm going to be able to come here and give the class that I was told I could give. I'm expecting that we'll be able to make it here on time if I give enough time. So we're not going to be able to have no expectations all the time. However, we can definitely have be aware of our expectations and then put our expectations over here. Like, oh yeah, I'm having an expectation. Let me put that over here and see what Krishna wants to do today. Let's see what's going to happen today. So another thing with people, if we have an expectation of a person, we might want to sit down with them and discuss it. You know, I have these expectations that we've never talked about. They're just in my head and we've never talked about it. So I'm wondering, would you be willing to do this and actually discuss it with the person? You know, I've never talked to you about this, about you, you know, helping do the dishes at night. You know, I just expect that you would offer it once in a while, but I'm just wondering, would you be willing to do the dishes once a week? That would be really helpful. And instead of just expecting it and then being disappointed and angry, they might say yes. So expectations are a lot of times just in our head and we haven't discussed them. They might be cultural expectations. You might expect things from me because I'm a Prabhupada disciple, but oh my gosh, you know, I just try to be myself. I may not be what you expect me to be. I am who I am. So just be aware of your expectations. That's the first thing, and start just putting them over here or discussing them. I have this expectation and I'm wondering maybe we could talk about it and see if maybe some of it could be fulfilled. And the other thing is, sometimes we can make a plan, like I'm a planner, I make a plan, but then I say, okay, Krishna, I've made my plan, what's your plan? So then I can open up and not have an expectation that my plan is going to pan out. Does that make sense? Yes?
No, Mataji.
No. Which part didn't make sense? All of it?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, we'll have to talk about it later then. It's a deeper topic. All right? We'll talk about that. Are you coming tomorrow to class?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. I'll make sure we talk about that. So there's one more question here. He had, and I think we need to wrap it up.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for such an enlightening lecture. Mataji, we have been in a habit of finding faults with others and blaming others for our mistakes also.
Since time immemorial. That's what keeps us here.
Yes, and lifetimes after life,
yes.
we have been doing this.
Yes.
And when we observe it, or observe it also, as you just said, that it should make us humble. And actually,
it's not that it should, it could. Because a should is another beating yourself up. Why aren't I humble? What's wrong with me? It's like, we're not fully feeling the impact of our behaviors. We're doing them unconsciously and not even present to the impact we're having on others and ourselves. We're not really getting how we're self-sabotaging. If we really got that we were hurting ourselves when we hurt other people, we might stop it. But we don't get it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Go ahead, so finish. Sorry. So we could start looking at that. I'm sorry, I interrupted your whole train of thought there. Whoops, that was me. Go ahead.
Actually, being humble is actually conducive for devotional service. But instead of getting humble, if it is bringing inferiority complex and ultimately it is leading to enviousness, then how can we deal with it?
Okay. So I like the word honesty instead of humility. I try not to use the word humility too much because if I think I'm humble or I'm striving to be humble, it might be a prideful thing that I'm striving to be humble or that I exhibited some humility. I might get proud of it. So that's a dangerous word for me. I don't use the word humility. I like the word honesty because I can be honest and not feel great about that. Because when I'm honest, it's like, well, that wasn't too great. So I like the word honesty. Now, low self-esteem, beating ourselves up, blaming ourselves, that's the same as blaming another person. We're self-sabotaging. We are a jiva tattva. We will make mistakes. We will be illusioned. Our senses are imperfect. We do have a tendency to cheat. Especially we cheat ourselves. Why do I need to beat myself up? Where did I learn that? Who taught me that? Somebody taught me that, and I learned that, and that became a habit of beating myself up. Why can't I honor this jiva inside of me, this soul? Why can't I honor this soul is trying to become conscious? Ain't an easy thing to swim upstream. That's not easy. Why can't I honor and value that soul inside of me? Why do I feel I need to beat that soul up? I'm not perfect. Right, I'm not perfect. We'll never be perfect like Krishna. Can we become simple and pure-hearted? We can be simple and pure-hearted and still make mistakes. That's more what we're looking for, that simplicity, that pure-heartedness, that openness, that curiosity, that wonder. We don't have to beat ourselves up. That's a habit. And that habit has severe consequences on our Krishna consciousness. So I don't like to try to be humble because sometimes that encourages people to beat themselves up and then they think that I'm humble. I'm so fallen, I'm lower than a worm in stool, I am such an idiot. That's not humility, that's self-denigration. It's a completely different thing. So I don't try to be humble because the opposite side of humility falls like an arrogance, kind of like I'm just so bad, I'm just so rotten. How is that helping to encourage me in the path of devotion? It's discouraging me. It's upsetting. It's sad. It's hurtful. Why am I hurting myself? It hurts enough already. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you so much, Mataji.
Okay. We could go on and on and on and on. I'll be here tomorrow morning, and I'll be here after the class. These books are for sale. I don't have too many left. This book is about compassion, and this book is about my life and how I was a fanatical devotee, and how I thought my parents were kind of demons, although I didn't call them demons, and how that panned out, that they kidnapped me and had me brainwashed, and it was a very trying time, and how we actually reconciled and forgave each other. So this book is for sale, and this book is for sale. This is online, this is 500, online this is 400. I'm selling the two of them today for 600 rupees, the two books together. And these two books, I only have a very few copy of these books. These books are about the mind, the false ego, and the anartas. These books are 800 together. If you want to get all 4 books, I will give you the price of 1,200. And I'll sign the books, and I'll stay here as long as I have to. Thank you so much for your time, your attention, your questions, your thoughtfulness. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to all the assembled devotees.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Thank you very much. Sukhavaha Mataji ki. So we'll have a session by Mataji this afternoon for Vaishnavis, for all the Matajis at CBSM. It will be at 1 o'clock. And then tomorrow again we will have continuation of the same topic, but it will be how we can forgive within ourselves. Within. Today was without, tomorrow it is going to be within. So we request all of you to please join these sessions. And we like to again thank Mataji by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And those of you who want to buy books, they can come to Mataji and Mataji will sign them up for you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yeah, and electronic payment is also available.
Mataji.
छोटा छोटा नहीं चले ज़्यादा बड़ा होगा।
नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठ